Hello, my name is Gabriel and of the Charity Medical Foundation and International Create Incorporated. Today, the title of this weekly address and presentation will be the power of God and His name. The power of God and His name. And I will be revealing a lot of stuff today from the Holy Spirit design. From the language called the Hermetic science, which is the language of the angel. Pretty much, I'm gonna be using it, and I will define that in a couple of minutes before I move forward. Um, Without further ado, I also will be covering the correlation between the environmental health, public health, and any other related field that are important to improve the quality of health of populations and also the environment. And saying so, good afternoon, good morning, guten Tag, hello, bonsoir, bonjour, and ni hao. For peace, as always, shalom and salam. And bonjour nos amigos. I spoke about talking in specific the power of God. Everybody know about it. God. That's a name that we know mostly use. Is a generic name of God, but it's not the powerful name of God. Because when you say even people from the dark side can use God because they know it's not too much important. There's too many God out there. All right. So I will be revealing something today, and I'm also gonna be doing some conciseness regarding that information, which is also based on many analogy and analysis from many illustration that I have studied, and also with my divine inspiration to talk about this stuff that will help people to comprehend the world that we live in and the manifest behind that Lucifer live within us, and it's actually the one who's creating the disparity, is creating the division, is creating the defiance and envies and 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 hurt between people, between populations and communities. Before I go further, I would like to say this is the founder and the chairman of the Charity Medical Foundation. I'm planning to build up an organization that I believe will be a multi-billion company in the future. I am working on some project that I believe will change the scope of the world in the future. When I have the right people around me, those projects will be launched and implemented. The study will take a lot of years and a lot of fundings. You're talking about $500 million to achieve those research that I have in place. Therefore, I would like to say that what is defamation? Defamation is a process in which there is a misconceptions and of messages that are sent out there that do not define the truth of the story. That's what defamation is. could I say that defamation should not exist? No, because we live in a democratic society in which everybody have the right to do what they believe they wanted to do. But what's the bad side about defamation? The bad side is that it does create uh, false alert from misinformations based on facts that are not real, and create panics and intimidations and fear among people. That's the reason why it's a federal offense when you're talking about a court of law. I want to start with this, saying that I know that many people have skepticism and procrastination about many things regarding my personality and also my agency. But I just want to let you guys know that this is something that was generated by my previous experience in this earth. I don't want to say existence. I can say existence. I want to say I have, sometimes you don't want to talk about the past, but sometimes it's essential to remind certain aspects of that past that are influencing your present and might be a problem for your future. So therefore you can go back and retrieve certain aspect of that past and talk about it and try to do some analogy regarding it. So I have served in the Air Force, but until today I still don't know what kind of evil that got into people that I have known in the service to really continue their dark work of defamation around. I have never, like I say, I speak about the word of God. I mean, I try to follow God accordingly, just to assure that I do not speak about it without following example. I don't have the intent of hurting people. But okay, somebody gonna say, even me in jail, I'm doing 20 years, I didn't have an intent. Well, let me rephrase it. Within my characteristic, I'm a good person by default. The point is, when you have to survive from situation, there's legal process that you can take to survive from it, because you live in a civilized society. So at the time when I have served and realized that I was not treated right, I went into the Congress, the United States Congress, and request informations of why. Remember, you always have to ask why. You have to question the use of authority. The person who have used his authority right will not fear to answer you. It's simple as that. So you do it politely. If somebody don't have nothing to hide, he's gonna answer you, and that's gonna be the end of story. Move on. When intimidation start coming up, it means there's something. So the point is, I went to the U.S. Congress and I spoke what I was supposed to speak, and it went to the channel of the Air Force, and actually went down into people. Many people got, I can say, demoted or whatever happened, or moved from one position to another position, because no one wanted to be part of a situation where they didn't know if it was true or if it was false. So they decided that they wanted to come after me. So they came after me starting 2009 with all those defamation that you guys heard outside, you know. But what they have done was is is like a tornado that come up into a town and destroy the entire town. That's pretty much what they did. And that's the reason why I asked the question, what kind of evil came into them to act like that? Because they don't know me. To be really certain, they don't know me. I work with them, but they didn't have access to my file. The people who have access to my file are the people who have security clearance. Pretty much people who have access, who work at the Pentagon. Alright? So they didn't have my file, they didn't know me. So they even violate the law because my military and medical record are confidential and can only be accessed by people who have that authorization to access it, and can only be released publicly if I become Bin Laden. I don't think it is the case with me. So what courage they had to use a propaganda of defamation out there to destroy my personality and my life. And they're still doing that. This is what I want to say to folks. I want you to know that those people are immense liars. Most of them are retired, and for some reason they are not too happy about their life, and they need your help to comprehend them. And that's the reason why they're acting the way they did. Coming after I left the military, I was 28-year old. Coming after a 28-year-old, it doesn't make sense. Unless you're a madman or a mad person that needs some help, some psychological help, you should not do such a thing like that. Because you have family, you have nephew. Even if you don't have kid who have that age, you have family, you have nephew, you have cousin that might have that age. So that's madness, and those are evil people, evil folks. They went into the new administration that came in 2009, and they have someone working at the Pentagon who was part of the base I served, and they have someone at the Rapat Air Force Base, doing the same thing. All right, they are all liars. You understand what I mean, sir? All of you. Do not listen to their fairy tale and smoky mirrors. Those are, they call it, if I can call it, response to my legal survival procedure, because I was not coming after anyone. So I survived, clear my profile as a veteran that will live his life and need that profile to move forward. I'm talking here as a knowledgeable person, as a savviest. In what I speak, I know exactly what I mean, because I'm someone who have more than 200 undergrad courses, to a bachelor degree. I have more than 117 graduate courses to a master degree. I have more than 114 graduate courses. Those are separately courses to a doctor degree. If they plan work, it doesn't mean that the story is true. So that's where we have to differentiate the facts, and which is the reality, and the truth, which is sometimes unseen and sometimes unknown only by those who know the truth. And when they know that truth, they transform that non-truth to a known that is different from the non-truth to a truth that is only based on lies, and make that truth become a non-virtual truth. I call it virtual truth because it's a form like a duplicate of the false, of the true truth. So the real known is hiding behind, and they're taking that known, which is unknown by those who don't know, and talk that known and transform it to a known that is apparent as the true known. Now knowledgeable by people who don't know. They 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 don't know. Jealousy is out there, I can tell. I live about it every single day. This is my story. This is my story. What can I say? Just a bunch of losers. They need help. If you see them coming and talking to you about those kind of stuff, please call a medical doctors and set up an appointment so they can go and have some psychological evaluation. Because people might be walking out there, you think that they are normal, but they are sick people in their mind. Everything that they have is to destroy other people. Please do that for me. You see them out there talking about defaming my name, talking about stuff. I serve this nation with honor. I didn't serve this nation because I want to be entitled of something. I serve this nation because I wanted to have an honor, self-honor for me, that I've done something good to humanity. Remember, there was a day that I came here and somebody asked me, what do you think about the American dream? I said to him, listen, the American dream is a commercial. You can excel anywhere if you understand who you are. But what makes America different from other nations is that you have opportunities, but you have to seize those opportunities. And I said to him at the end, I'm not in America to pursue the American dream, but I am in America to discover my inner potential and use it to serve humanity. What does that mean? It means you can excel anywhere if you understand who you are. The difference is that you can excel more in a nation that have more opportunity, which is America. I was very clear. Now, I have posted a true story on my website, www.nhmedicalfoundation.org, medical foundation and it.org, or charitymadefundit.org. You find that true story, hell and heaven true story. I was called again by the Holy Spirit to put it back there, because I take it off couple since last year, put other story there, but they want me to put that story back there, and that's the reason why I put it back there. And I want people to really watch that story. Honestly, that story is the truth, and if you don't believe in that story, well, I don't want to say something here, but if you don't believe in that story, I don't know what else to say. I have been a very good servant of the nation. I have made sure that I have everything in place to have a more apprehensible way of releasing this news out there to people. So it's very important for us to comprehend stuff and work and stuff. Do not listen to people who have with a motive of destruction. They're still doing that today. They want to pay back. What they're saying, what I heard is, who is that guy who came here? So they came with a mission to destroy me, so I can return in my native nation, because they could not comprehend that. That's what the Holy Spirit told me. They could not comprehend that somebody like me came here and have a gut to go to a U.S. Congress to come after people who have built their career for 20 years. Like I told you, they are sick people, with all the respect I have for them. What is the correlation between somebody who have done 30 years serving a nation with abuse of authority? You're gonna go out there abusing people because you're gonna say, I've been in this job for 20 years. Who are you to tell me something? No, sir, you're wrong. You just committed a crime. You go to jail. That's what it is. Thank you for your service for 20 years, whatever you say, or 30. It's not about that you have served for 30 years. It's about what have you learned to build up that experience so that you can start treating people right. Therefore, thank you, sir. You're a felon. You didn't understood nothing of your 20 years or your 30 years. So that's what it is. This is just the truth. This is system thinking, critical thinking. All right? I am an intellectual person. The point is, they came so hard on me, they used very high position people in the Pentagon within the new administration, which is the new implementing administration in place, as well as they used the national security and filtering false information. And they have people on the ground disseminating those messages of lies. I signed a documentation when I was leaving the United States Air Force that none of my information can be released by anyone, my medical as well as my personal information. I signed that paper. So those people out there who think that they're retired, there's nothing that can be done. No, when I sign it, you still there serving, and you have served, and you're gonna have to prove to the judge who gave you that authorization to violate that law. Because you have the tendency of not trying to stop that criminal activity. because that's crime. Defamation is a crime, is a felony, is a federal offense. Because you don't know what kind of life I have out there. I walk out there, people get me confused with a criminal. Okay? When I'm not. I've never been stopped going to school. I've been educating myself every single day. You don't have to carry a bag to go to an institution to be institutionalized. We're moving in a new world, folks. My dear friends, you're lacking behind. And then we must know that situation happen. I have medical doctors, professional medical doctors. Okay? Professional medical doctors who decided that they wanted to add a 2-year training in transitional and clinical research. What did that do to them? It means they should be able to carry on research on the patient and know how to analyze and interpret the result of the data collection. That will help them to improve the quality of the healthcare provision. Do not get confused with further educating yourself based on circumstances and demand than just going to school to go to school. I am a professional. I think 20 years in advance. I know what I need. I know where I wanted to be in 30 years. Do not think that I walk out there, I'm a crazy man. I have frustration because I don't see that happen yet. That's what frustrates me. But don't think that I'm a crazy man. I'm not. You think once, I think 3 times. I got my high school diploma in 2000. You understand? In a class where 1/4 that year, only 1/4 of the class obtained that national exam. It was one of the most difficult year, and I can promise you, those of my generation that we graduated from high school in 2000, some of them are doctors, professors, high elite around the world. I can promise you that. Not all of them, but the majority. So do not think that you're going to listen to people who have some mental problems out there. They're not happy with their life. They're not happy with their, what happened in their life, and they have to bring that madness on an innocent person like me, a 28-year-old man who left the military, who was fighting for his life. Grown up people, they call themselves father, uncle, grandfather, and they can make wise decisions. This is pathetic. You never watched that movie called Criminal Mind? There are many people out there that you see walking. They are criminal if you really analyze their mind. So this is not about mind, it's just about system thinking and critical thinking. That's what it is. Because you're going to go out there and say, and then what? What are you going to do? So what kind of reason is that? Because somebody don't going to do something to you, so you have the right to go there and violate the law, releasing his information unlawfully. I wanted to remind people there is a U.S. Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court is still alive. There are 9 members there. And those people, they have families. And none of them would like to see any of the family members being in a situation that I am. So be careful out there. Those who think that they are above the law, that I don't have a penny in my bank account because I need to have a penny in my bank account to come after people. No. I need to have knowledge. That's what you're missing. You're missing that aspect. I need to have knowledge. I have the correct knowledge. You're going to have to answer tomorrow what you have done. So it's very simple. When I was leaving the Air Force, I said to them, you have treated me wrong. And I will use the law to find the truth on this matter. They talk like people call me today crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. That's alright. But they were surprised when the tornado came from the Secretary of the Air Force at the time and start asking them what's going on. You want me to retire earlier, or you want to answer the question of what happened to this kid? Therefore they start realizing that I was not joking. I want to let people know that as long as I'm alive, I'll make sure that I follow the law. And I will follow the law to the extreme matter within this interval. That's what I want to say. Okay? Because when you can live in a system where people don't want to think the opposite side, that what if it was me? No, it's not belong to you, so we can do what we can do. We got to do. That's not the way things function. Always think the other side. Alright? I learned how to love people because in the country where I grew up, there are people of the opposite color who came there, got good job, driving big car. When I was walking on the street on the sun, tried to earn a dime. But none of us never hit them, because you comprehend that you have to work harder and you get there. Work harder and smarter. So if I come here and I wanted to succeed and people keep telling me you have to go back, I'm starting realizing that they don't know what they're doing. They don't even know what they're talking about. They're lacking something, what is called knowledge. And that's the reason why I came up with my equation of knowledge. The equation of knowledge, which is equal to the speed of light square plus the internal energy. The internal energy is the science of the mind. The science of your thought. Your mind is control all your move. Your mind is what connects you to the subconscious. Your subconscious is what connects you to the invisible world, the world above. Pretty much when you sleep, every single person in this earth, when they sleep, you don't sleep in this dimension. When you sleep, your body, you pretty much I can call it quarter dead, because you start living in a different dimension, the dimension in which you are in contact with beings that are not from this dimension. Everyone in this earth. So when you don't know knowledge, you start mystifying stuff. In your dream, that is the time in which you can even get in contact with the person who created you. You can get in contact with the person who protects you, which is your guardian angel. But many people don't know that because they don't comprehend when I put an equation out there. They think it's very simple, but my equation is not simple as you think. Even people with 10 PhD, no one have the monopoly yet in the open knowledge. I'm not talking about those who have studied occult and magical thinking and the supernatural world. No one have the monopoly of the science of mind at this point, which is the internal energy. And I said that because the speed of light is constant, what will vary, that will differentiate people knowledge, will be the internal energy that will boost that equation. The time will be is also a constant, because you live today moving forward to the future, multiply by time. So the person with the most bigger internal energy, who boosts it, who know how to use it, will have a more elevated knowledge. Therefore, God have the maximum internal energy, the maximum power, the absolute powers. Therefore, he will have an infinite knowledge, because when you add that internal energy to that equation of light, his knowledge will be extremely high, as well as all the people who live in that dimension. Then I'm introducing the power of God. Now let's start. How many people who are talking about God? God is a generic name. When Satan start talking to Lucifer, start talking to Eve at the garden, he didn't call God by his name. He said God. Pretty much he disrespected God right there. God. The day you will have an angel showing up in front of you and say, God sent me, ask him that he go again and say to that God that you don't recognize him. No angel, no other being will come that was sent by God or by Jesus will say, I was sent by God or Jesus. No. They will come to you and say, I was sent by the sublime high, the great architect of the universe. He will put a prefix before that name. Otherwise, he know what will happen to him. You understand what I mean? I'm talking to you because I want people to know that I am an intellectual. I have learned, I have studied, okay? And I put everyone in challenge. No one wanted to come and challenge me. Everyone is talking behind. Because people will know when they open my file of courses, academic courses that I've taught. I sat in a bench of study here in the United States of America. They know there's respect. But the point is, when you have a situation where by yourself you can go after many people, what is happening is that you're gonna have to really do your best, sometimes by staying quiet. People want to say who I am. I want to say something to you because I see people thinking about it. when I pray, if you pray, you don't feel the sense of the Holy Spirit, you're not wrong. Your prayer is still understood and well comprehended. But if you think that because you pray you don't feel anything, that nothing is happening, well, that's not true. But when I pray, and I pray accordingly, the way I manufacture it with the blessing of God, the Holy Spirit is present. And I can feel it, not even by thought. You are close to me when I'm praying. If you're not strong enough, you're going to fear me. You're going to run away from me. Because the sensation of the Holy Spirit will be upon you, and you will feel a sense that for the first time you will not be comfortable. All right? So I want to let you know that, and that's the reason why I know for sure that my divine inspiration are true. I'm not talking about story. I am saying to folks, you wanted to test me, you come in me, we pray in silence. I pray without launching my voice. We call it the true prayer, and you feel the Holy Spirit there. All right, you don't gonna feel the Holy Spirit, but the Holy Spirit will be upon you, if I want to say that. All right, so that's the reason why I can come and talk to you, that what I'm saying are completely true. Now who is God? God is the high being who engineer the universe the way we see it. God, true name is Elohim, Yahweh. Elohim mean the sublime, the great, the supreme, the high, I am. That's what Elohim mean. That's the name, the language used in heaven that I precise earlier, the Hermetic science language that I use there is an esoteric part of the Bible, of religion. Esoteric side of religion. What is it? Esoteric side means that it's only known by people who have specific knowledge about something. The angel have the knowledge of above that will never gonna be comprehended in this earth until after you die and you go to the training. Two options. So Elohim, El mean the great, the sublime, the supreme. Ho-him, I am. Then there, he is your creator with that name. Alright? He is your creator. He is the person who's gonna judge you. You will face him when you die. It means you might face him in the distance when you go to hell, because when you go to hell, you're just gonna see him in the distance with the decision already done. You'll be very far. I want people to know that. That's Elohim, the great sublime, high, I am. Now Yahweh, it is YHWH in Hebrew. Alright, they added A and E to make it Yahweh. Yahweh means who I am. You understand? Who I am mean I am and I'm still. I am with you. It defines the attribute of God, which is I am who I am. I am who I am. The great I am who I am. So he is the first I am as your creator and the person we're going to judge him. And he is who I am as the person who is there to protect you, to answer your prayer, to cure you, to provide what you need, to answer, to do stuff that will help you succeed. Therefore, Yahweh is Hebrew. Is also in Arabic Allah, and in English is Jehovah. Capiche there? Therefore, when you use Jehovah, you're talking about the God of mercy, the person that you can have intimacy with. You're talking about Jehovah, Yahweh. It is Jehovah in English. So when you say Jehovah Jireh, you're talking about your provider. When you say Jehovah Rapha, you're talking about your healer. When you're talking about Jehovah Ntiskenu, you're talking about the righteous. You're talking about Jehovah Shalom, perfect peace. You're talking about Jehovah Kadesh, the sanctifier. You're talking about Jehovah Nisi, love and protection. You're talking about Jehovah Riha. You're talking about the shepherd who tenderly lead his people. You're talking about Jehovah Shammah, who is with you everywhere. Shammah Emmanuel, where Emmanuel came within us. Now Jehovah in Leon, the source of everything. So Yahweh is his name that you use as the God, the Lord, the merciful, who have grace to give you all these services when you call, when you open your heart to accept it. Now, when you want to use that name, you just don't come and say Elohim. It's not your equal. You descend. Well, they're probably going to find out first if you really know what, if you come from your heart. You might be ignorant too. Then you have to use Adonai, which means Lord, which means your master, your commander. You're going to use it. The Lord Elohim Yahweh, the master, sublime, I am who I am, sent me. Alright? That's the way you have to pronunciate that. And that's the way angel pronunciate that. They will say the Lord Jehovah. Or they will say the Lord. They can get order from God as well as they can get order from Jesus. Okay, Jesus is the name in English. It's also Cairo Jesus, Christ. Cairo means Christ. Messiah is the Hebrew side of Christ. The Messiah, Yeshua, is Jesus Christ. That's what it is. Alright? Now, we must understand this. God is not subject to time. God is not subject to space. God is not subject to matter. When you talk about Elohim, the Lord, the Adonai Elohim. You're talking about eternity. When you're talking about Jesus now, you're talking about eternity. What is eternity? Eternity is a vacuum of infinite manifestation. Eternal life is a vacuum of infinite existence. If you talk about eternity, you can talk about time, because in eternity you don't have time. Eternity is not subject to time. And that is the space in which God lives. That's the dimension, not the space, the dimension in which God lives. God is not subject to time. He created time for a purpose. He is not subject to space because he created that space. In order for him to create that space, he must have existed in a different dimension. He's not subject to matter because he created what we can see. In order for him to create what we can see, he should have been existed in a different dimension. That is the reason why in heaven there is no night, there's only day. They are not subject to time. There's no time over there. And that's the reason we are subject to time, because we are finite. Eternal life is an infinite existence. It means you're not subject to time. You don't gonna be in hell burning and they're gonna be beating you every day and start looking what time is it, because it will never gonna end. You're wasting your time. That's the reason why it's infinity. All right. And so when I'm talking to people, I'm saying to them that the God, the great Yahweh that we have, is in front of us. He's there. He is omnipresent. At the same time, he's not subject to time, space, and matter. But at the same time, he's omnipresent and omnipotent. Infinitely omnipresent, infinitely omnipotent. And everyone that he gave his power have those characteristics. Therefore, I spoke to you about the 9 chore of angelic houses that govern the heavens along with God. Those angelic power, those angelic chore, they all have similar, they all have the same power, but similar, different functions. Their function are specific according to how they were attributed to them. I said last time that some of them are close to God, some of them are close to human being, just because of their function, but they have the same power. It means they can do the efficiency of their work. The power that they possess is similar, but they have different functions. The seraphim, they have different function. The cherubim, they have different function. I will define that next time. The thrones, they have different function. The dominion, they have different functions. The power, they have different functions. The virtue, they have different functions. The principality, they have different functions. The archangel, they have different functions. The angel, they have different functions. Now, what God did, He took 8 from each uh, um, hierarchy, angelic hierarchy. He took 8. When you do 8 by 9, because the 9 angelic hierarchy, what God gave you? 72. I told you last time that there are 72 angels that play the role, the role of guiding angel. So 8 come from the seraphim, 8 came from the cherubim, the throne, so 8. All right. So when you do 8 by 9, it's 72. 72, they have infinite omnipresent characteristic and infinite omnipotent characteristic. I mean, each of them can protect up to millions of people at the same time. All right. Million of people at the same time. There are only 72 people that protect the billion people that you see in this earth. 72 angels. And God used 8. What's 8? 8 means renewal. 8 means rebirth. It means, in a numerological interpretation, it means they are here to help you. And when you do 7 plus 2, it gives you 9. 9 is completion. It's final. It's the last number. That's the reason why. Those things, they just don't do it by mistake. They do it accordingly. And at the same time, He have 72 angels that control earth, water, the fire, and the air. When you have those tsunami, most of the time it's a battle that we don't see. Okay, the battle that we don't see, the battle between the evil angel and the good one, and that is manifested that way. And what you have to know is that there is a dimension in which you can have the space and time meet together. Therefore, in that dimension, you can visualize the past and you can also oversee the future. And that's what is used in the supernatural world to see exactly what's going to happen into the end of the time. When I say end of time, I'm talking about the era of the 666 of Lucifer as the prince of this world. I mean, what is manifested visually is already done in the invisible world. It means when you die physically, your death is already sentenced spiritually. They know that you're gonna die. All right. Everything that happened physically is already done spiritually. There's nothing here that happened physically that has not been done in the invisible world, because we are alive because God has His attribute in this earth. If God didn't have His attribute in this earth, we didn't have guardian angel, I can promise you we should be dead, because Lucifer will be like, good, I want them all in hell. Now, in hell, God don't have any attribute there, and you can only see the images of what's going on there, right? But on earth, he does have attribute. So those angels, they are there to protect you. And I said last time that God don't intervene in your problem. Let me revise that sentence. I'm not going to rephrase it. I'm just going to revise it, because it is true in overall, but I want that to be comprehended in partitions. Let's say this: God will keep you alive when you are fighting for your survival to live. It means he will not let you die or dominated by evil spirit if you want it. But you are the one who have to put effort to accomplish it, and he will give you energy, wisdom, advice to get there if you accept it. So he will not intervene in your place, but he will guide you by giving you wisdom, giving you strength and power to get there if you're willing to accept it. He will also use other people to assist you if they are willing to accept it. But it is difficult those days because people don't know how to distinguish that voice, because that voice is not loud. It doesn't come with force when he talks to you. That voice comes very silent and very soft, like it's nothing. But that is the truth. And the voice that comes repeatedly, that's Lucifer. Always remember that. The soft voice will talk to you once, and it will wait another one day or couple hours and remind you again, very soft and gone. But Lucifer will remind you every single second because he wants you to make mistake. Why does he want you to? He wants so bad for you to make mistake, because he wanted to humiliate God. The big humiliation you can do to a person to a being like God is to humiliate him. If the creation that God put in place and say that's the great creation, even if you are inferior in his creation short, is to make sure that we disappoint him. Then if you disappoint him, he will be humiliated, because his creation that he's so-called perfect, I am perfect. Therefore, he's not a God that he said he is. So that's what Lucifer is trying to do. That's the purpose of all this fight. Then when he came to Eden and start talking to Eve there, first of all, he didn't use the word Lord. He used the word God. So that was the first signal. He started reasoning, bringing what I've been calling, experimentation. When actually you receive an inspiration that was given to you, God already told you what you're supposed to do. But you prefer to go with the experimentation instead of revelation. It revealed to you, this is what you have to do. But you start reasoning, and when you start reasoning, all mankind start reasoning. And people have sometimes this wrong. We are born in sin because the sin happened to the person in which you will grow for 9 months. That's why we are born in sin. And Lucifer knew exactly what he was doing. Right? Smart guy. He's clever. So that's the point. The reason of heterism. Heterism don't have a place. You jealous a person, it doesn't have a place. You will be thinking that you're doing right, but most of the time when you're doing wrong, you don't know that you're doing wrong. But what is wrong? It might be a state of mind, or it might be an adjudication of logic, like what is the logic that people use today, or what is my logic, what is the logic within the society. It becomes a very subjective matter. But like I said last time, if you answer this question, men were created in an image of God, or men were created in an imagination of man, or the existence of God was created from the imagination of man. It's actually the same thing as do men were created from the imagination of man. That become evolution. What is evolution? Evolution, in the real understanding, is a cult that was put in place to diminish God's glory and emphasize the power of mankind. It's simple as that. And that is the work of Lucifer. He wanted to take off that YAHWEH stuff, that Elohim stuff. He know that Elohim is your creator, but he want to take the YAHWEH part. You can have the relationship with God. That is the most important part. That is the price to heaven. You can go to church. You can give everything. You can, in a societal manifesto and comprehension, they can call you the Jesus Christ of today. But you'll be surprised when you reach the other side and they say to you, "We're sorry, you're not allowed to enter here." Just because you never have a relationship with him. Relationship means you have to be persistent, tenacious, enduring in your prayer. You have to do stuff that glorify him, not you. You have to do stuff that glorify him, not you. I live in a society in which there is a fair conspiracy to destroy my progress. When we realize that we were created in the image of God, but we created with different characteristics. You can today possess the Spirit of God within you. It's omnipotent. Millions of people who serve him correctly can possess his spirit. He can live within you. I said last time, this is what I said last time. You wanted to comprehend Islam, you have to comprehend the way they describe the great Yahweh, which is Allah. You wanted to comprehend Christianity, you have to understand who is Jesus Christ. You wanted to comprehend Judaism, you must comprehend who was the ancestor. You want to comprehend Buddhism, you have to comprehend the cosmic force and human being, self-resolve. You want to comprehend Hinduism, you have to comprehend the culture and the algorithm that generates from that culture, in relationship to the cosmic force. You wanted to comprehend atheism, you must, in the third dimension, understand the resonance of mankind when they use their consciousness. That's what it is. You go to a mosque. Moses, take your shoes off. This is a holy place now, as I am present. What is God telling you? Don't bring impurity in my house. There is a pure God. Right? You go to a mosque, you take your shoes off. Good Muslim that don't kill people, that respect other human beings. That's how it functions. You don't use the word Allah in vain. You don't pronounce that word just because it pleases you. It should be the same when you pronounce the name of Jesus. Because the purity that the true Muslim do. I'm not talking about those who don't follow their word or the Quran. It requires a lot of prayers. It requires a lot of devotion and sacrifice of the time. Every day. It's a lot of work. You have to really talk to a good Muslim. He's going to tell you. I don't know, they pray at least 3 times a day. Washing their hand and do all this stuff. But one single person will lead you to the same Father that they're praying with a lot of sacrifices. Jesus Christ. But people use his name, it's just like, it becomes like a joke. No, there's also a lot of sacrifice with him. You have to carry that cross. You not able to carry that cross. You have to use that name with very. You have to be very careful. Use that name. Jesus Christ died because he was courageous. He have courage. He was born in the time of tyranny. When you didn't have the democracy that you're talking today. I'm a free man, I have a right. They cut your head. You're going to see that on the other side. That's the time he was born. Alright? So, the cross that you can carry today, I don't think that is heavier than the one that he carried. Or it will be heavier than the one that he carried during his existence here on earth as a human being. You have to be able to love the other person. You have to be able to apply his charisma accordingly. Because that is the standard that God will judge you when you will be in front of him. He will judge you based on the standard that the follower of Christ, says so follower of Christ, believe in. You say you follow Christ, right? Did you do this? Did you follow this? Did you? So when you compare that to the purity that people who follow the follower of Islam, you see how difficult it is. You have to find that purity. You know, I never see people say, oh heaven. They always say, oh hell. No hell. I actually don't know if that's the instinct that we all do have. But let me explain that to you. Animals don't think they will die like men. They just die. Because it was the curse. They were part of Eden when God created it. So the curse went to every single thing. But why they don't think that they will die? Because they don't have a spirit. They have a soul. Mankind have a spirit because God have a destiny for you. So we have that instant fear because we have it in our mind that we're going to die. Every single second. You see the animal out there, he don't think about it. He doesn't think that he's going to die. That's your problem. But the mourn, because it's painful when somebody go, right? Exclusively when you didn't know that you're going to die. So the point is this. We have a lot of stuff going around, the conspiracy going around, and people just don't know the power of our thought. That our thought is related, there's a correlation between our human mind, which is our conscience, in which we can enhance our awareness, to what's going on and link it to our subconscious, which is our spiritual mind. Then that subconscious is then attached to the universal force, to the cosmic intelligence, to the divine intelligence, to the infinite intelligence. If you only know how to tap it, you will be well informed. Your knowledge will increase. You will boost your internal energy. Right? And see very carefully. Think don't lie. Think don't lie. You speak well. You speak swiftly. You reason to please the female side, and there's a chance that you will be well comprehended. Right? You go back to Genesis and look. What is the reason why the angel barrier that God lifted up as the most important angel, with all the power that God gave him, turn his head and say, I can be God in your place? I said last time that because I also use my mind to interpret all the divine revelation. I use analysis. All right. Lucifer didn't create evil. Okay. Is the best way to call him is to call him the devil, because he's the one doing the evil thing. And that's where his name came from. The second name came from Satan, as the opponent of all good things. In every knowledge, there's a good side and there's a bad side. But the knowledge himself come good by default. So when you add corruption into it, you start using that knowledge in a bad way. That's where evil get implemented. Don't just look up, okay, knowledge is knowledge. It's just for different function. You know how to save someone, but you also know the reverse side of it, so you can decide to do it, to kill someone. You're doing the reverse process of saving someone. Look all the knowledge that we have in this earth. You use the knowledge to create nuclear power to help the world to grow. But you can also create that nuclear power to generate something that will destroy humankind. That's still the same knowledge, but used evilly. All knowledge in medicine, in science, in everywhere. Someone know the knowledge about a car. In a matter of second, he can come and remove one thing in your car, and your car don't move, because he didn't have that knowledge. But he can still come back and plug that back in your car function. So when you translate that to the microscopic way, Lucifer had the knowledge. The knowledge was good. So because they all have conscience in the spiritual world, he start analyzing things. He know the good and know the bad, but he revolve from good. Say, I want to do this way because I have the free will, and I choose the free will because God didn't want them to be robot. Like God don't want us to be robot. Like you just live with revelation. But I believe that revelation will be good for you because I know where you're going to end up if you choose experimentation. So he chose that other side. So he didn't create evil. He created the doing of evil. Bring people to do bad stuff. So he came to knowledge. The lady had the revelation. And the revelation was true. But let me say something to you. Doubt will always bring, will always lead to mistake. We doubt. You have the original knowledge. You never face experimentation. And suddenly, Lucifer show up with experimentation and start analyzing that revelation. And you start building up doubt that maybe what he's saying is true. The first mistake about all of this is not about all those analysis. It's about you know who's who. He was not God. He was working for God. Therefore, end of story. That's it. When you start talking after that, it becomes subjective. So that's the reason why many things that happened in Genesis became eternal curse to all humanity after that. Become eternal. But you're gonna look and say if you speak well to the female side, you speak very well like Lucifer did, it always gonna be fine. You come up with stuff that support her ideology, thing always gonna be fine. This is something that is 98% true. For those who are truthful, they're gonna say that seems correct. So what happened in the past in Genesis is an eternal curse. Now God came and said, Adam, where are you? That was a metaphoric way to say, what is the position that I gave you to let this thing happen? So that was an eternal direction and position that God gave to people that you should have said, put some more emphasis in this matter. But you let that happen. Therefore, there will be problems in families for eternity. And what happened today is the truth. When you really interpret the Genesis very well. So that Genesis that we're reading, we don't know that that's actually our life. It's actually a realistic of the inner realm. It's a realistic of the inner realm within the invisible world. We just don't know it. There's problem within couple, family all the time. And sometimes somebody have to take position. But it becomes subjective because we start living in a world where evil is taking place. It's coming in force. And he will take ground more and more. He will take ground more and more. Can you, a man now, and come and say, you can't do that anymore like before? It becomes subjective. But like I said last time, if everybody follow the principle, standard, and law put in place by God, it should not be a problem. But those were the same thing that was put in place during the first creation. But somebody came with experimentation, and he mixed up everything. Therefore, experimentation is part of our thought today. Every time that you're going to have the truth, you're going to have to start analyzing it with your conscience. Why do I have to follow that? Come on. I'm not going to do that. That is your experimentation. And experimentation will always going to lead to problems. Well, somebody going to say, well, how do you know that revelation will not lead to problem too? Well, if you can create a human being, maybe you can answer that question. Right? So we have to look stuff the way they are and say the way they are. So as a person, as a man, you follow your position with respect to God's standard, law, and principle. You respect that person, that other party, that partner that God gave you, because their spirit existed in a different part before they came into that physical body. So they belong to God initially before they belong to you. Let me say this. Let me prove my case that they belong to God before they belong to you. Why? God didn't went initially through Joseph to say, your wife gonna have a baby and you will not be the father. He went to the woman first and say that, and then he went to the man and say that. That's the proof of what you just said, that they belong to God first. But building peace, like I heard the lady here, she said, I don't want to be a man, I wanted to be a female. I'm tired about this ancient culture stuff, and I just laugh from inside. But people gonna say that's her mind, I don't buy into it. But she said, I am fine the way I am. I am confident and comfortable within my feministic characteristic. And I'm also comfortable with my futuristic characteristic as a female. But the thing is, if you know how to use it, you should not have a problem. That is the point. That's why being peace among things. But the trouble that happened during Genesis is what followed humankind today. And that's the reason why I said, and I was very confident that I said, God wanted us to live in harmony, in peace, through revelation. What's gonna happen when he returned approximately around 3047 and he ruled for 1000 years? Those are revelation. I did my analogy for the return, but the 1000 years are revelation in the Bible. The 1000 years will be to restructure the mind of mankind the way it should have been in the beginning. Then when you, after the 1000 year, it will be final. So therefore when you add, you simplify that number, it gives you 1 plus 5 give you 6, which identify family, the creation of harmony, family and harmony after destruction of the Luciferian rule. And I'm certain that will happen in harmony. People don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about the future. Worry about the present, today. The future, give it to God. Don't worry about your future, but take care of your present. If you take care of your present accordingly, the future will come accordingly. Why do I say that? Do not worry about what I just said, the return. It will be up to the people, to your generation. That will be in that time. Worry about now, because when you die now, there will not be about, God, can you wait into 4047 before you judge me? No, you're going to be judged right away. So you have to worry about now. Where are you going to go after this earth? Or either you're going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell, because those two places exist. So you worry about now. Take care of your present. Discover your inner potential. Discover the inner power that God put in you, and start using it for the well-being of humanity. That is the glory of God. But instead, what Lucifer is doing is to put your life in difficulties, so that you can go through him before you can benefit. You can benefit the gift that God gave you. You can start building up doubt, and when you start building doubt, you start making mistake. That's the point. We have to be capable of identifying this. I'm seeing people out there, they're looking at me, they're thinking, oh, well, what he's talking about. We see him every day, he doesn't have a dime, he's a poor man, he's this and that. Well, the same Jesus that you're talking about, I'm pretty sure that your bank account is heavier than his bank account when he was alive. You as a human. So what you talking about? Are you a true follower of Christ, or you just there to fake on people so you can look good? Because it's a person who comprehend who Jesus Christ was cannot stand out there and start seeking for people to be poor, or seeking for people to go down. There is a plan that's already put in place for this earth. People are communicating with the other side. They will lead this world with the agenda of the God below, which is Lucifer, and the true God above, which is God. They have a place to make sure that they can ease, they can manage the agenda of the God below. Will they're proceeding with the agenda of the God above, because Lucifer is there, is living, and you will not take him away. The only person who will take him out is Jesus Christ when he returns. In the meantime, you will pay the collateral of the mistake that our ancestors have done in the past to accept him in the world. That's the point. You can come and say, I can bypass you. He's gonna say, all right, I found someone else, and I'll crucify you like I did to Jesus Christ. And if you don't pay attention, he will, because he is the master of this world, the physical one. As well as the invisible one, if you give him that authority. That's the point. We have to make sure that we understand this thing. When I'm talking to you, people are neglecting this, but these are the truth. I'm speaking to you, I'm giving you knowledge. I'm giving you knowledge out there. If people listen to what I'm saying carefully, and the truth with themselves, they will gain a lot of thing out of this. Because the way God functions is completely different the way we function. The reality of this earth is completely opposite to what you have expected. You will say, I'm a good person, I have done this, I have done that. But because you refuse to accept the real truth, that you are not perfect, and then when you're gonna stop talking, they're gonna tell you exactly where you fail on doing, and you get it right away. It's as simple as that. We have technology today that we use to control people. technology that will be coming in year to come to control all human mind, control the entire human mind, coming after people. It will be worse and worse. Look the Bible and Revelation. Many of the prediction that was preview, famine, calamity, volcano, tsunami, they are all happening all together. All together, they are all happening. We are approaching to the return of that being in a very exponential fashion. I have listened to someone who spoke about the weather that happened on the 6th in his Gleam of Revelation, in that Revelation channel on YouTube. He spoke about this, but he said he didn't know exactly what did that mean. But pretty much what I saw that happened with that with the weather, it was similar to what was revealed to him, that the entire United States was covered of ice and snow from the climate station. And he said he didn't know exactly when that gonna happen, and it didn't happen. So folks out there would think that those are just stories. There's no such a thing like stories. Because we always wanted to be in a position to start saying, if I knew, well, why not listen? And maybe you can think about it. You wanted to get there first and say, if you knew. No. We are all the creature made by God. He's omnipotent. He's omnipresent. You follow God, you follow Jesus Christ. You will live the energy of Jesus Christ within you, despite the fact that you will have limited function compared to him. That's the omnipotency that they have. You will be able to do stuff that will not be comprehended. You're on earth. Nobody will comprehend it. This is how I interpret evolution. I'm not trying to diminish kid thinking. This is how I see deformation. It's like you go into kindergarten and a kid take Revelation, Genesis, and said, do God take the mud and make the part out of it and glue them together and become a man? That's pretty much how the evolutionists try to explain the power of God, the power of this universe. Because they're missing one thing. You cannot be in a third dimension of knowledge and try to explain something that is in a seventh dimension of knowledge. It is impossible. Well, People can say it's difficult but not impossible. But in this, when you deal with God, it's impossible. You are in a third dimension, but you wanted to explain the knowledge of someone who is in a seventh dimension. That's the same thing. A kindergarten cannot solve an integral unless he's a supernatural kid, that he possesses some external, invisible people within him, and they start solving integral and antiderivative and derivative in the kindergarten. That's pretty much how the evolutionists try to explain the manifest, the wonder of the universe. You can do it. In order for you to do it, you have to go, lift your knowledge till the seventh dimension. And let me tell you, every occult, every mediums, any person who have studied the supernatural and the metaphysical world, I can tell you, they cannot be selfish, because they're not selfish when you travel in the invisible world. You're just gonna have to be truthful, because you don't have no control there. All those folks, they're always going to recognize that they are supreme power. So when you move from the third dimension to the fourth dimension and even the fifth dimension, you start seeing the limit. And then therefore you can start realizing, maybe I was not looking into this matter in a more clarifying way. I was still in the kindergarten and thinking that I understand more better this thing. Because when you start moving in a supernatural world, like those medium does, like those occultists does, you start traveling, you meet barrier, you meet high power, and there they will talk to you about Elohim, Yahweh. They'll tell you, this is the dimension you are. This is high work. This is where you are. This is your limit. Unless you are crazy, you're going to come here and start talking stuff on your paper. You will be forced, you will be compelled to say, I'm not an evolutionist, because I've been there. I saw my limit. And they're right. They are angelic power, celestial power that exist. It's because we are evolutionary using our conscience. We are still blind, but we think that we can see, we know, but we don't. But we're still blind. We have spiritual blindness. We have blindness in terms of knowledge, knowing the truth of the world above. Unless you move from that third dimensional structure to the fourth, which is the soul, and you stay a little bit in that dimension, and you start moving to the spiritual dimension, the fifth one. And when you start climbing and going to a different world, you start moving on. You start facing, and first of all, you have to be protected, because you're going to be facing Luciferic angel over there, that if you're not strong enough, you might not even return in your body. I'm not talking because I did it. I'm talking because I have knowledge on it. So here I'm talking the truth to folks. That is not because you see life the way it is that you believe that you know. You don't. That's the reason why the Bible, religion became necessary. Because with religion, people will not think too much. But the challenges, the difficulty make them confused about the Bible. That's where you start looking up the supernatural. Because the Bible is telling you the foundation. Believe, 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 you'll be fine. But in that belief, you start thinking, God damn it, it's tough. But when you start realizing the supernatural that around you, there are forces that exist to extract the chances that God gave you. And there are permanent battle between evil forces and good forces around you to keep you alive into this earth. You start realizing, wow, now I cannot be mad anymore because I start knowing the truth. Now I comprehend. But you there, you live around. If they open your eyes, the spiritual eyes, spiritual ear, you cannot live for 1 second in that world. Because what you're going to see will give you a heart attack. Unfortunately, there's no heart attack in the spiritual world. But you will be very scared because there's permanent battle between evil force. There's a reason why God sent 18 angels to protect earth, and 18 to protect water, 18 to protect the air, as well as 18 to protect the fire. Because beside the 72 that protect humankind is because Lucifer did the same thing. He's a complete imitator. He also have 18 to not to protect earth but to destroy earth. He have 18 to destroy the entire water. He have 18 to destroy the entire air. He have 18 to destroy the to maintain the fire within the invisible world. And he also have more than 72 to destroy humankind. So do not think that you live a year, you have more than 8,000 seconds to live years, a year, that you think that is because it's granted. It's not. It's because God is there working hard to keep you alive. In the mind of Lucifer, you should be dead already. Because that's the reason why he's in hell. Because of you. If God have not been programming this creation, everything should have been fine with him over there in heaven. But because God came with this plan to create people that angelic force have to come and serve, he ended up in hell, as well as all these other demons that serve him. So they're freaking mad. They're really mad like the people that I mentioned earlier who are defaming my name. They're serving Lucifer without knowing. That destroy someone. That's the point. That's the reason why we have to really be realistic and not see situation and think that we have all knowledge about the situation. We don't have all knowledge about the situation. And the difference between when you were a baby to when you were an adolescent and kid and now, unless you have some mental issue, is that you grow up mentally. you learn from those steps and you nurture yourself and build up a good character to be who you are today. That's the difference. But during the tribulation time in your life, you will face those you will face those trials where Lucifer will try you. He's gonna come and try to create doubt in your mantle, and those that can lead you make a wrong decision, right? So that's why you have to be careful. You have to be immensely careful when you look up other people and try to judge other people. I have folks who think that you know uh, uh, they know all, but they don't. Unless you know the supernatural world, you still blind. Because if in your life you never have problems, you will have problems. You see what's happening to Rodriguez, right? The most high baseball, you know, player, the most high pay. Look in what time, when the problem started in his life. Evil came and they tried to take all the money that they gave him. I mean, they tried to put his life down. Everything that he's doing, pretty much facing 1 year with no salary. He have to use the money that he saved. 22 million, 25 million a year. He's gonna have to go to his bank account and start, you know, metaphorically eating beans and rice. Pretty much not beans and rice, but pretty much at least half of $25 million to live for that year, without counting paying lawyers to win the case. But I do believe that he can win it if he put faith on it and pray. He will win it. But now you're going to be outside and start judging him because you don't know the truth. The truth is, he said on TV he have a problem with the leader of that league, and he want to put him down before he go. That's the truth behind the curtain that you don't know. So that's the point. That's the reason why you have to know that you will have problem in your life. Problem will come. Problem might come when you have millions or billion. And those problems will come in accordance to your status and the money you have. You're not gonna have a problem with somebody who don't have a place to eat or a place to stay. His problem is about finding where he's gonna lay his head, or have something to eat. You have problem that is equivalent to the money you have. That's how the universe measures stuff. You see what's happening to Michael Schumacher. Since I've been growing up, his name, and you see, just something happened to suck up his career and his money. A problem that is equivalent to what he has worked for. But I do believe that with prayer, He can revive from that medical condition, but not assured if he can come back, because I can't, because I have that strength. I don't know about building a strength. I don't know about him building a strength with God so he can come back. He can certainly come back. It's very simple to comprehend. If you're sitting out there and saying, well, all my life I never have any problems, you're fooling yourself. You'll be tested. You can have it when you already 60. And you're going to be like, why now? Why now? It doesn't matter why now. You face it and carry the cross if you're Christian. Or whatever it is. You know, when I look at my problems and I look at people judging outside, it's because when I look at them, I say, you don't know. You don't know. I remember my father when I was a kid, he was saying, you are a kid. You think you know, but you don't. Life is more complicated than what you see at this point. And he was right. It's not because you see it that make it true. It's not because the situation is there that make it real. Things happen sometimes that human don't have control of. You face it. Sometimes they ask you, how do you get there? You say, I don't know. Can somebody explain me how our country start owning million of dollars? No, I don't believe so. You're gonna ask to a congressman, an economist, he's gonna give you an algorithm that lead to it, but he doesn't really gonna tell you this is what happened. He's gonna give you a summary of what he believe lead to it, because it started long time and it's very complicated. Those are the manifestation of the universe above our understanding and knowledge that you can control. Sometimes you end up in situation and somebody asks you, how do this lead to this? I don't know. Because it's something tough to explain. Because when you're going to start explaining it, it doesn't going to make sense to people, because they're not going to get it. They're going to be like, how's that? I don't believe in that. They will not believe in that because they never faced that kind of situation. Somebody who faced that situation, he's going to tell you, I really feel you. I really understand you. But it will not mean anything to someone who have never faced that situation. He will not. He will get it and will like, well, I've been hearing about it crazy. You keep talking crazy stuff. You know, and then the day that he faced that situation, it's like, I was mistaken. So I thought this was wrong. This cannot happen to me. Why this is happening to me? It's happening to you because you didn't build up your consciousness to be aware. If you have just listened, it should have been fine. That's the reason why it's happening to you. are subject to pay our debt back to this universe. The universe is a body, a living mechanism in which we are part of. When you have your car, you drive in your car, you are part of that car. You drive in your car, you don't put gas on it, you don't change oil, the car keep driving, and one time the car gonna say, I'm tired, you're not taking care of me. You don't put no oil on it, you don't change you don't put no gas, you don't put no oil, you don't change no oil, you don't clean up. You're gonna stop. It's the same thing with the universe. It's a mechanism that exists and need some maintenance, and those maintenances including our life, our existence, because we are part of it. We have to pay back. So you can't just be there and your car stop in the middle of the road and start saying, why this is happening to me? Please start thinking, where do you change your oil last time? I don't even know. Do you really have gas in your car? Well, I thought that this guy can get me there. When you start having problem, start thinking about where was your responsibility that generated the problem. Maybe you can have a very safe and wise result out of the problem. It does include me. We are the master of our reality. We are also responsible for the consequences that those reality create. That's what builds to freedom. Freedom of choice. You are existing. You have to live. Like someone say, I just don't want to survive. I want to live. He was saying, I just don't want to get out of this mess, but I wanted to go back to who I was. That's what he's saying. We live in a world where evil is permanent. We live in a world where we have more differences to desegregate all humankind. And we think that there will be an ease, there will be a pause, there will be a fact of peace temporarily. Lucifer is gaining ground. Lucifer is coming bigger and bigger to take the entire universe and everyone. It will be like that until the second return. The world gonna lead to a one world currency, one world religion, one world government, one world economy, one world bank, one world parliament, one world military. Because problem will be tougher and tougher. That the only way to do it will be to work with those who already have, because those who already have will not have any other choice, because they don't live alone in the universe. But if you stay, those problems are not belong to me, they belong to them. I don't want to talk about it. Well, wait until the role or problem hit you. Maybe that will create awareness in which you might think again that everyone have problem in this level. Every single one of us have this problem. We have problems within us. We have our type of demon that are called animals, mean characteristics that are not well embraced in a society. But every single time people will point out into your characteristic, animalistic characteristic, without looking their own animalistic characteristic, because each one of us have one. There's someone out there is like, oh, this man, he like too much woman. But he forget that he is the one who like to smoke weed out there all every single time. Oh, I also forgot that I like to smoke weed every single time. So you're gonna be out there continue to judge people. You judge people and you don't judge yourself. By default, we are humankind. We are not perfect. We will have something that will bring us to trouble. What will maintain us to go to trouble is our intellect that will save us for that and prayer. Because you have something that you always do that's not good. Either you drink too much, either you smoke too much, either you like women too much, either you gamble too much, either you like to travel too much, either you like to purchase stuff a lot with no sense, either you like to eat too much, or either you just like to spend money too much. You like to play game too much, you like to, there's something that you do. You like to talk about other people too much. There is something. Find yourself into this characteristic. So what? That's the reason why I call self-resolve. Because you understand those animalistic characteristics that you have. Yes, it is well to talk about other people thing, but why talking about other people problems when you are preserving your own? Because your own is also a deficiency to the society. I call it human hypocrisy. And the power of mental control. The power of the mind to control other people. Mind. So we have to put in place peace. We have to generate that atmosphere that will embrace everyone's ideology and making sure that people move forward. But you learn from your past moving forward. You don't learn from your past moving backward. You mean you're going to come and pass your past? Or people just want you to stay backward because of the miserable life? You see, my dear friend, there are many people out there who don't have a peace of mind. I remember when I was a young folks in my first year in university. I used to um, have run my business, and I used to cut that man hair, and he always used to say to me, "You know what is most important in this life?" I said, "No." I was talk about things like a young man, money, all this stuff, and he said, "Peace of mind." Peace of mind, very important. When you have your peace of mind, everything around will follow accordingly. As you see me the way I am, I'm past the level of stress. I have the level of frustration because I understand the inner realm of our humanistic existence. I comprehend the invisible world, but I don't have the tool. I have the tool, but I need the knowledge, additional knowledge, to use that tool to fight evil. You will go out there and then you meet all those occultist people that will talk to you about we can you make you this and that, the world of entertainment, this heavy word, million of dollars. All the respect I have for those folks, it's not an easy thing that you see. It is difficult. The payback is heavy. Success is sometimes followed with a lot of regret, because at the end, people wanted to leave. They wanted to be alive. What happens if you end up with all those million of dollars and then you're gone? You just leave a name that will be forgotten and not even be known in heaven, only in hell. That will be the purpose of it. Yes, you praise me, but you never build up a relationship with me. I'm sorry. Building a relationship with God is very difficult because there's a lot of stuff that will be in jeopardy, our conscience and what we want to do. What we want to do. Like, how do I end up here when I've done well? When I've done this, when I've done that? It's because you want to do this. In order for you to do this, you can pretty much wait for God. So you went with a different master and you get there. And people will respect you. And people will see you as a good man. They point a hand on other people. You see, the point is to maintain our environment. That's going to be the last topic of my presentation today. Maintaining our environment is very important. We have to maintain our environment. Make sure that our environment is well protected. When you speak about environment, like I said last time, you spoke about the health of populations. You spoke about the geology. It means that the quality of where the food are seed to grow. You spoke about zoology, the health of animals. You speak about the health of water. You speak about the health of the trees, of the forest, the ecosystem. And you also speak about the aerial health, the health of the space, to make sure that when you breathe, the air that you breathe must be the air of quality. The water that you drink should be the water of quality. Because sometimes you drink water and you get sick from that water. And when it happens, and you have to realize, anything that you put in your mouth can kill you so easy as a gunshot that people put people to jail for. And they neglect stuff like food poisoning. Food poisoning is as dangerous as someone who have a gun out there, because it will lead to the same end. It's very simple. And that's why we have to follow up stuff. We have to make sure that the quality of our food is correct, is safe. The quality of the water that we drink, correct. The health of the environment and the work environment that we in are safe. We have to make sure that we have a good waste management structure put in place. We have to make sure that the pest and vector control are well managed to assure a better quality of life, better quality of lifestyle. We have to make sure that we can tackle issues like global disease outbreak and global warming, as well as international global health disparity. And I specified last time about the movement of revolution revolution that is generated from the movement of rotation from Earth, and I was correct about it. And I spoke about that the way we treat Earth will determine how Earth will treat us. You see, the change in climate doesn't happen by error. It happened the way that we created Earth. The velocity and the structure and the position in which Earth is implemented have to do with a balance. It might be a virtual balance, but that balance is important. If the ozone of Earth change with a margin that surpass the person who created it, the movement of rotation must start getting slow. And if the movement of rotation start getting slow, it will affect the movement of revolution. If the movement of revolution is affected, it will affect the climate structure on Earth from interval time to time, in correlation with different regions and zones around the world. So it should not be a surprise. As well as water, when they're putting chemical inside water, they're changing the structure of earth. Even if there's a rejuvenation of material to a usable substance like oil, natural oil, because natural oil is composed of certain mineral, petroleum, and gas. Primos, gas is expendable. Petroleum is what we use that we call gas, but that's actually petroleum. It come, it does come from. There's also another material that is called. When I say petroleum, is petroleum with the big P. It include gasolines, diesel, and any other mineral that have the same structure. That's what I call petroleum. Well, that is the structure that's called when you talk about natural gas. Natural gas is composed of petroleum, gas, or natural oil. It's composed of petroleum, gas, and other mineral. Or you can call it natural gas. When you put it there inside the ocean, you will impact that structure. And remember, there is a structure called the tectonic plate movement. The tectonic plate movement is happening in a very slow space. What is called tectonic plates? Tectonic plates is the division within continents. That started a long time ago. The continent, long time, they were all together, connected. But through the tectonic movement, they start setting apart in a very, very slow motion. All that movement of trying to put certain gas inside can speed the process of tectonic movement, or slow that down. It does depend. It would depend. All right. We have to take care of our environment, because without a healthy environment, nothing will happen. We're always gonna be out there in big trouble. The water that we have in place, must be protected. Somebody should not drink water and be sick out of water. That's criminal. That's criminology. That is felony. That is prison. Attempt to commit crime, to commit a crime. It's the same thing as somebody who have a gun out there. You have a poison that you're gonna want to put in you have a substance that is toxins that will impact a person's health. It's the same thing as having a gun that would impact somebody's health and life. Because when you shoot someone, you create a health issue. It's just severe to take the person's life immediately. Sometimes not immediately, but sometimes it takes time for the person to die. The process. It is very important that we understand many things around. I spoke about the power of God and His name. I spoke about critical thinking in regard to people ideology with evil forces that is interfering with human business. I spoke about the maintenance of our environment. The environment is very important. The environment is necessary. The health of our environment is an essential part of our daily living. I also spoke about personal matter that have to do with generational curse, and I made the statement of eternity, which is a vacuum of infinite manifestation, and eternal life, which is a vacuum of infinite existence. But you have to remember, everything that exists do not live, but everything that live exists. Because living is a manifestation of a living mechanism or organism. Living organism, it means you have a scientific manifestation in which you can produce something. But a rock exists but do not live. You can say a rock lives through energical power. Well, it's not an organism, because an organism also possesses energy. We possess energy. Very necessary. Well, I'm drinking water to see if I'm gonna get sick. Hopefully I don't pass away giving this weekly address. Talking about water. Our body contains about 2/3 proportion is water. So when you look Earth, 2/3 of Earth is water. Water is an essence that generates life. Without water, there's no life. But who is the source of life? It's God. Because without a soul, there is eminently no life. Immediately. But with water, you can still live. You can live without any water. You can live for a couple days, maybe more. But without a soul, you're done on earth. Water is the essence of life, like the gas you put in the car. You put gas, it will take time. When that gas run out, and when it's done, it will stop. That's it. The same as water. But if you take the motor out, the car will stop immediately. Your soul, your heart is the one that keep your soul, spirit alive. And people try to generate and try to change genetics. It's not so easy because we didn't create the humankind. The gene is a structure that was created by God. The mutation of it can happen, but in very rare case. The rejuvenation of the gene happened. Trillions of cells rejuvenating. Trillions of cells from tissues rejuvenating every single second. Trillions. And that is why we have to follow certain procedure and understand science, mathematics, reasons, and any other form of knowledge that is out there. Without further ado, I would like to let know that hopefully next week I will explain more about the in more deeper definition, the role of the 9 angelic chore, as well as I have another information that will come up, so it will be done next week. Without going any further, I wanted to wish you a very good end of the week, and you can go into my website at Charity Medical Foundation and IT Inc. or the NGOHMedFundIt.org, or you can follow me in LinkedIn. I report Twitter, Facebook, and as well as Gmail, and even believe MedSpace. No, yeah, I believe MedSpace. So for social networking, and I put my prayer that the great Elohim, Yahweh, through his son Jesus Christ, give peace to people from their heart out. Give them the wisdom to recognize that despite the power and money that a person can have in his bank account, this is not a regular prayer here. This is the true prayer, the way it's viewed in heaven, with no cry to satisfy human mind, just the truth. Even with the power and the money that you have in your bank account, and you can sit out and take a phone and make a phone call to change someone's life or destroy someone's life, you got to remember that there's a person above all of us that gave the life to all of us, can also take the life of any one of us at any time. He can derive your life from where you are, from what you are, to what you will never imagine you can be. You can be worse or better. Praying for the great Elohim as our creator to, and also our master of our daily life, Jehovah, to penetrate our inner self and cleanse that spiritual heart as well as the natural heart, for mutual inclusion of ideology as well as collaboration among people that will generate peace. Not to persecute people from methodological, oppressive, structures that will disallow them to incline their ability to give to the society. I would like the Holy Spirit to compel people to do good, to erase jealousy, to eradicate envy, to diminish jealousy, to erase anger, and instead build compassion. Disseminate the word of forgiveness, and also propagate an emphasis in regard of building a society in which people will live by fulfilling the eternal duty than being influenced to live a life that were not designed to live. Without further ado, I would like to praise the great Adonai Elohim Yahweh to his son Adonai Messiah Yeshua for giving me this energy and time to disseminate this message so it can be savvy out there and well assessed to people mind, so that they can learn even with procrastination could be as a biomarker within their humanistic mind to assess your glory, at least that you might exist, you might be invisible, but exist, that you're in control of everything, bad or good, that you are the GPS of all existence. You derive circumstances from where they are to an imminent glory. Therefore, in the name of the Father Yahweh and the Son Yeshua and the Holy Spirit, the divine intelligence, I would like to praise your blessing. Thank you all for listening. And as I say again, I am the founder and chairman of the Charity Medical Foundation. And I will not restructure my phrase. I say everyone who will come and work with me will not only have the blessing of God, but will also do something that will change the scope of human existence. I am calling people to come forward and contact me. Many people would think this is a game. Yes, nobody knew Jesus was Jesus 2,000 years ago. I might not be the finisher of my mission, but my mission will happen. That's what I have to say. Thank you all for listening. Auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, muchachos, and goodbye.